Hey, it's Jordan. I am in Flint, Michigan, East Palestine, Ohio,
Tumwa, Iowa.
Please support the only independent outlet on the ground covering what the corporate media covers up. I said, you know what? We got to cover the election. It's just unavoidable. However, I don't really want to go to Pennsylvania, to Michigan, Wisconsin, and ask people, what do you think of the polls? Who are you going to vote for? You know, the horse race, as they call it, because there's plenty of that shit going around. I said, you know what? I do want to go to these states. Pennsylvania's one of them, Michigan's one of them, Wisconsin's one of them, the very big swing states. So I said, let's go to these swing states and actually cover issues that are not really being covered by mainstream media. Let's cover issues that matter to voters, but are not reflected in the campaign coverage.
You come to Wisconsin, you go to basically the white areas, in which I understand it. I'm not an idiot. I know you got to have those votes, and you have got to prove to these people that you're the type of Negro that will be in favor of what they want. And this is not condemnation upon all white people, but I'm simply saying when I see this lady running for vice president and she tells a black interviewer that is she going to do anything that would be for black people only? No. She said that. I saw that. And so I'm saying, well, then if I was going to vote for you, you just changed my damn mind. It's crazy how they got black people so bamboozled.
It's not going to get any better under the Democrats, because we've been had them for, I know, 20-something years, and I haven't seen anything. I lived through right to work. I done lived through the riot. I done lived through all of the police brutality in the city of Detroit, and all of this was under Democrats. Mm-hmm. You know, so.
So are you feeling for yourself that you would consider Trump, or?
I would consider.
Donald Trump happens to win Michigan. What should people know as the reason why?
Because we're so disappointed with the Democrats and their mishandling and misrepresenting. The communities aren't getting better. We're still waiting. There is no reparations for us. Nobody's coming to save us. We've been waiting for a very, very, very long time for bigger and better changes, and we don't see it coming. So if Trump wins, yeah, I would blame the Democrats and their lack of support to the communities and the people, the constituents.
What's happening is it's a hysteria that's being created that is creating some type of barrier between, separation, I should say, between people that were born here and immigrants. Mm-hmm. And I think that's something that one of the candidates is doing. He's creating a whole lot of hysteria, and that's why people say, well, hey, the immigrants are doing this, they're doing that, they're eating cats, they invade neighborhoods, and none of that stuff was happening. So one of the things I brought up, I said, well, crime was here before the immigrants. All these immigrants came in, crime has always been here.
Yeah.
So you can't just blame it on immigrants.
If Harris loses Wisconsin, what would you say would be the main reason?
Again, I would blame the Democratic Party. They are not doing, and she would be part of that as well, because once that message is out there that Democrats are not doing anything for us, that they're all panders or whatever, that affects everybody, especially on a national or presidential focus. Once that has shifted and got into the minds of a community, it's very hard to unravel.
This is the first strike you've had since the 70s. Yes. So this is not something that happens every 4 years. It's a pretty big deal for you all to go on strike.
I just want what the company promised us when we got hired in. We all came from good jobs. They offered us health care, a pension, something to retire from, and good wages. I just want it all back again, not get it taken away. Otherwise, I'd have stayed where I was. I was happy and not working so many hours away from my family. If you're going to make me work that many hours, at least give me like a bonus, something to look forward to, not just say, oh, well, we're making this much money, but you're not going to get nothing.
Some of these people are like second generation, and they have kids that are coming into this place too. So there's some people that have like 3 generations in this place. My dad worked here.
And your family 4 generations?
4 generations in here. My grandmother lived down the road. I've watched this building change over the years. I've always wanted to be in here. When I finally get in here, and then it was great. And then all of a sudden, in the last few years, it's just been take. And I'm like, Wow. I never thought that actually happened.
That was a source of pride in your family to work here. Yeah.
Yep. It was
It's
a big
a family-oriented shop.
Yes,
I
it
have
is.
8 members of family that work here.
You are, I guess, the first socialist elected in half a century?
Yeah. In the Milwaukee area, first socialist elected since the 50s. And then along with Representative Madison, the first socialist to take office at the state in 86 years. Milwaukee's is almost half. Almost half of our municipal city budget goes towards the police. And yet it's clearly not doing what people think that it's doing. And
while I'm assuming the mayor, Democrat, is showering tax breaks on big corporations.
Yeah, absolutely. Showering tax breaks on corporations and developers. He is well funded by them, but also throwing even more money at the police than what they requested. So what happened last session at the state is that they passed something called Act 12, which requires that Milwaukee specifically does not cut its police department. So rather than cut dollars or positions. So the police came out with a wild budget that was way more than what we've seen before. And the mayor, rather than saying, no, we just have to get this down to where it was, actually said, no, we're not going to go with this. We're going to give you even more money, which is unprecedented. Violent crime is going down here in line with where it's going down, in other places too. And there is no correlation between police spending and that drop in crime. And it is frustrating to see people continue to try to manufacture that.
So would you say the choice between Trump and Harris, on one end it's like getting shot in the forehead, and on the other end it's like slowly being poisoned? It's just you're gonna die, but one's faster than the other?
Are you a Trump fan?
No, I don't like either of them.
No, I think there's, there are some things that you're not going to get everything you want, but you'll get more of what you want.
I.e. the lesser of two evils.
So,
Wow.
so you've been around long enough.
I'm a nice boy.
No, you turn things around.
No.
But you're really not rooting for Trump.
No.
Don't think.
No. But I go around the country and I'm seeing suffering on both ends.
Okay. So people from both sides could listen to you.
I think so.
Have a good day. You're no longer permitted here.
I'm not permitted.
Yeah.
Okay. So
It'll be trespassing, pretty much. So
it's trespassing to ask you questions?
I'm
not even in. I'm just
Put you on our property.
I'm just simply asking. You guys made $12 billion last year in revenue. People are having cancer. People are having strokes, seizures.
I was diagnosed with breast cancer. Of course, my reaction was, huh? I think the American Cancer Society had it at 1 out of 833 men. One. And I was one of them.
I was in a hospital for a week, and then they sent me home with seizure medicine. That's all they could do. No answers. Like I said, they don't test you for chemicals or anything like that. I mean, I had everything done possible at the hospital, and they still can't find nothing, but I'm still having seizures.
We have kids that are going through puberty issues with hormones. They're getting acne at age 6.
The puberty issues are coming years before puberty would normally start.
It is very uncommon for a whole town and surrounding areas to have kids around the age 6, 7, and 8 to have hormones to produce puberty.
There's 8-year-old girls now having periods.
My 8-year-old, she's 9 now, but my 8-year-old daughter is one of the ones that Ashley was just talking about with going through puberty at 8 years old.
To get too personal, but you mentioned your 8-year-old daughter is now developing puberty in terms of her a cycle, or?
She's had multiple. We actually just went to a doctor about a month ago or so. She actually had got an injection she has to get every 3 months for a while just to pause it.
Mm-hmm. Are you going to do anything more than a $600 billion settlement, including health care? People need health care.
Okay.
Can I talk to anyone in management about that? Even if you give me a contact for someone. We're in front of Graphic Packaging International. It is a multi-billion-dollar packaging company, and here on the north side of Kalamazoo, they manufacture recyclable paperboard. This paper mill has been releasing toxic levels of gas into the predominantly poor black north side community for decades. and your daughter starts developing really bad asthma, and it got so bad after repeated attacks, after she's continually going to the hospital for breathing treatments. At 17 years old, what happened?
She passed away. She had been put on different machines, going into the hospital different times. Yeah, she had a severe attack. They couldn't even help her, and she just passed away.
About 6 months after the expansion, I developed asthma, and now have to take an inhaler every single day, and I smell it all the time.
It got a lot worse around 2022 because the plant expanded with the help, by the way, of Democratic Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Her administration approved a bond deal for over $100 million that allowed the multi-billion-dollar packaging company emit a whole lot more toxic gas.
I mean, I really just don't understand how you can see this stuff is killing us and nobody's willing to do anything. I have lost 2 kids from this, and it's like, don't nobody even really care.
I'd say right near Graphic Packaging, where they're gassing this community, there's a daycare very close. There are schools that, from what I've been told, kids are not able to go out on recess all the time.
I just feel numb inside. A lot of people tell me you're a strong woman, but every day y'all just don't know how bad I really want to give up. To lose 2 kids, a mother should never have to lose 2 kids like this. DeAndre was my first child. He been with me a long, long time. And then to wake up like he did, he was so happy that morning. He took his medicine. He was telling jokes. Then 10 minutes later, he just passed out. Then it was the last words I ever heard most of her say.
Whitmer is the corporate welfare queen. I mean, she has given millions and millions of dollars, probably billions by this point, to polluting industries with promises of not very much. Not jobs, right, they never meet their promises.
She gets a lot of great media attention, but from what I can tell, the Flint water crisis is still a disaster.
Don't start. My friend, I went to interview.
I don't know if you know,
I know Eric Mays. Eric Mays was my ride or die. Everything he did, me and Sylvie called him his fan club. You know, because he fought until the day he died.
Yes, he did.
For Flint, and they still don't have clean water. Yeah. And when I talk about Eric, it brings tears to my eyes because they cut him off for 3 months, and in those 3 months, that's when he died. Yeah. Because he was coming back.
And he was the one politician in Flint really fighting, particularly to expose the financial fraud that caused this.
So my neighbors start calling me up, go, hey, anything wrong with your water? I go, no, why? What are you talking about? They go, well, ours is bubbling and changing colors and we light the faucet on fire. I go, oh, come on, get out of here. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I went over and ran the faucet. And I'm like, why is it, it was like spurting. Mm-hmm. It didn't do that yesterday, but now it's doing this. All right. I called my well guy up. He came up and checked the tank, and so he goes, there's nothing wrong here. That's when my well guy turned around and said, it's methane, it's gas.
They find out that the water's getting polluted and fracking stops, correct?
No.
Fracking does not stop?
No.
Okay, walk me through that.
All right. So they stopped them from fracking, and where this red line is, they stopped them from fracking and drilling inside this 9-mile moratorium. But they can do whatever they want outside this area. Because I sat there and looked at the speaker of the house now. I go, I got a fucking bone to pick with you. Craig's like, all right, here we go. We're going to get dragged out of here now, all right? And I kind of went off on a hoot on him about lobbying, okay? So lobbying should be illegal. It shouldn't even be in this freaking building, all right? He goes, Mr. Kevin, please calm down. I mean, I was getting pretty irate, all right? He goes, you're right, Lo. The lobbyists outnumber us 3-1. This is the Speaker of the House now in Harrisburg.
Republican.
Okay? 3-1 Okay, they outnumber our politicians. So you have this many lobbyists in that building spending hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars, or whatever the hell they're spending onto it, to overturn our politicians, to change the fucking laws, so they can do whatever they fucking want, and we have no rights whatsoever. That is what you were voted in office for in the first goddamn place. We put you in office to do your fucking job, not see how much money you can put in your fucking pocket from the industry.
We saw all these people getting sick. The water was full of lead then, but they didn't tell us to filter. And when they were telling us, and when they gave a boil advisory, they didn't advise us that the lead gets worse when you boil the water. So people, again, we noticed 20 years later, crime in Milwaukee steadily started to increase.
And was the local health department here notifying families of that?
They were not notifying families because when the health commissioner ultimately resigned, one of the reasons why he resigned is because they found thousands of letters notifying families of lead blood poisoning that were still in the health department and weren't mailed.
Wow. I mean, that's scandalous.
Shocking, isn't it?
It's taken so long and it's such a hard fight. It makes me feel over a decade of advocacy that it's gentrification on steroids. Again, it makes me feel like it's gentrification on steroids. It's a recipe. And it's a big part of the recipe to keep public transportation inadequate, to make people feel uncomfortable, or to make people feel like they're better off going to the suburbs or better off going to another state where there is better low-cost transportation.
To talk about the proposed new 76ers arena, 76 Place, that is supposed to be on 10th to 11th Street here in Philadelphia on Market Street, neighboring.
I know people say it's next to Chinatown, and we say it's in Chinatown, because imagine, you know, Philly's all row homes. So imagine you live in a row home, and the person next door to you, the very next row home, decides to build an arena there. Are they in your neighborhood?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess
that's the distance. The back wall of the arena abuts our first business, which is a little 2-story mom and pop shop.